Welcome back to the Ramblings of the Designer. We are a weekly podcast. We talk about the greatest in graphic design news from around the web. Hey, my name is Terry, and I'm one of the co-hosts. I'm a UX UI designer from the Bay Area, and I help bridge the gap between products and their end users. I'm here with Adam, who helps runs the podcast, actually, that does all the back end stuff. So, Adam, take it away.
Hey, my name's Adam. I'm a designer from the San Francisco Bay Area. I specialize in visual UI design with a little bit of illustration. I like to give companies character.
All right. So, we always like to start off how our week was. So, Adam, how was your week last week?
Yeah, I've been still spending it doing nothing. um, I think I've just been kind of vegging out, watching a lot more TV than I should. But, like I said, I have that holiday-itis going on. And, it's little by little. I think what's happening is I'm kind of getting into position, right? I feel like I'm, as I like to say, cocooning myself so that when the new year hits, I'm just gonna bl- blossom. I'm gonna emerge into,
Blossom.
I'm trying. I was like, man, I'm not really liking where I'm taking all my metaphors. I feel like I'm setting everything up for the next year, right? I'm not the best wordsmith. Um, so we'll see what happens. But I'm starting to get all my little plannings ready. I have my spreadsheet ready of my action items that I want to get done, and it's broken by down by week, and see if I can do some weekly goals. And I'm just trying to get it ready. I need to finalize it more. I've realized it's like we're midway through December, past the halfway point in December, so I got to really ramp it up and try to get more focused. But other than that, not too bad. I've been still doing some more illustration stuff at work, which has been fun. So that's still going on. We'll see how long that'll last. But at least in the meantime, it's been pretty great. And other than that, not too much. I had bought a CNC router, or CNC router last year, I think. But I bought it like off of Amazon, and it was like the cheapest one I could get, because I just wanted to see if I'd like it. And um, I I wasn't able, I didn't have a PC, a laptop, which is what it used, and I didn't have that, and the software it provided was all like not that great. And so just recently, for some reason, it just started kicking back up again, and I found a better software that I can use. That's a browser version, and it works great, especially with my router. And so I've been kind of ramping that back up again too. And so I've been trying to figure out some cool projects to do with it. And so yeah, I mean, little by little, I feel like I'm starting to ramp up. But anyways, that's what I've been working on. What about you, Terry? How was your week?
Well, I just finished laughing. I had to put myself on mute because I would totally like mess you up. No, it's just funny because when you said the word blossom, it just reminded me of Bambi, one of the Walt Disney's, like when Bambi comes out and then he meets all the skunks. My name is Flower. So I don't know. That cartoon just it just came out. But anyways, yeah, my week I was wrapping Christmas gifts the whole week, staying up late, trying to wrap up the gifts so the family, doesn't see any of that stuff. So I finished that late last night. And then this is my own fault. I actually stayed up a little bit later, and then I just watched like two shows and just kind of like vegged out in bed and just went really
Mm-hmm.
just kind of vegged out. Um, but other than that, my website is up and running finally. I'm going to be kicking off a newsletter, so I'm excited about that. And then starting on February 22nd, I'm going to be going to a conference, World
Hmm.
of Day about Information Architect down in UCLA. I'm going to do a conference talk down there. So I'm super excited about that. So if anybody's down in LA, go to the conference. I know they still have tickets and stuff. And we can probably put a link down there within our show notes and stuff. So
Hmm.
other than that, I got an early book for Christmas, just from a really good friend of mine. So that was kind of cool. Um, Other than that, just getting ready for Christmas because it's next week, Wednesday, actually. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, and don't despair. We are still gonna have the podcast on Christmas Day because we love doing this. At least I do. It's fun.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, so definitely stay tuned for Christmas and see something new. I don't know. We'll see. So, Adam, anything else? Any gripes or anything?
No, no gripes this week.
Oh, good. Okay, well, let's get right down to it. Um, we kind of changed the format a little bit and stuff like that. So we're going to be getting into the news, and then also we have the question of the week as well. So, Adam, so what do you have for us for in the news?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the AIGA Design Census of 2019. So it seems like AIGA has been doing this design census where they send out a questionnaire for not only designers but just people, I guess, in various industries, and they get feedback of how we're doing. And they've been doing this for a couple years. I've seen maybe since 2016, and so this year they were able to survey or question about 9,400 people for their census, and some of the stuff is pretty fun, right, just to know. So I'll go over just some of the data that they discovered. I guess when you talk about how many years a average designer has, at 29%, um, the designer's years of experience range between 5 to 9 years. So 29% of these designers have a design experience of 5 to 9 years. 27 of them have experience between 1 to 4 years. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That it seems like a pretty good chunk of years. As far as their education, 32% have a bachelor's degree, and 17% got their knowledge from an online learning, so off of a conference or off of off of a boot camp. As far as age goes, the average designer in 2019 is roughly around 35, although it does seem like a big chunk is a lot younger as well. But the average is pretty much 35. 61% are female, right? With 35 being male. And then you have the whole list of 3.3% being gender fluid, zero point 0.2 being trans, zero point 0.1 are gender questioning, and zero point 0.1 are other, and so it goes on and on. It's pretty interesting. Let's see, what else? What else can I talk about? Oh, they also broke it down to how are designers working today, what sort of industries that we're in. 9% are in marketing, 8% are in digital products and services, 7% are in arts and entertainment, and another 7 is in advertising. What's surprising was that so many were in arts and entertainment, especially when you think about design. Um, I guess the entertainment industry is huge. Um, but I could definitely, I always thought that as far as industry goes, that marketing and advertising were going to be kind of very similar, but it seems to be about 4,000 are in marketing and 3,600 are in advertising. I mean, kind of similar, but it just seems it's interesting, right? And as far as skills goes, a majority are in art direction. A majority of designers have art directions as their skill, whereas it's a tie. second place with drawing and painting, project management, and UI design. So project management is something that I don't really have, like, that's definitely not in my skill set at all. So for something on 2020 to focus on, I think I'm going to choose project management because it seems pretty high up there as far as skills that most designers have. Let's see where else. I want to get over. Okay, just one. Let's see. I'll do two more things. So as far as like the average years at the current job, it seems interesting because for full-time employees, those that work in-house and in agencies, it seems like the lifespan of a designer in those in that current position is roughly 5 to 7 years. And then after that, it seems that people have a tendency to move on. And so I thought that was really interesting because that seems very relatively short. Um, you'd figure it'd be something way longer. Like they have designers that are in education or as an educator, they range from, it's pretty high, but it ranges up to 11 years. Freelancers seem to only last around 3 to 4 years before falling off, and those that are in self-employed are their own business owners tend to be 11 plus years. And so I thought that was pretty interesting too. It seems kind of weird that, it seems kind of sad that our a full-time designer really only lasts 5 to 7 years before they want to move on to a different job. And I'll skip through a lot of these. I want to go to how much we're getting paid. So let's see. It seems like a lot of designers don't take on that much side work. Let's see, salary. So they roughly at 29%, a majority of designers are getting paid between 50 to 75,000 roughly. So I was like, wow, I thought that was pretty interesting too. And then at closely at 18%, 18% are getting paid 75 to about 100,000, and only 16% are getting paid kind of above that, between 100,000 to 150,000. So yeah, I mean, it's I mean, maybe because we live in the Bay Area, but um, it's I feel like the prices are pretty interesting. Let's see what else. I mean, so yeah, I mean, the AIGA, they released their census, and with the help of iDesign, they created all these visuals for it. And so if you go on their site, they have a PDF and they just go through everything. And you have just a bunch of chart visualizations of different genders, different how much they're getting paid, how is their satisfaction broken down, where do you see these designers, where do you see them, a majority of them working, where are they coming from, what is their average range salary based off of their satisfaction. So it seems like for AI algorithm design, they get paid a lot and they're highly satisfied with their position. So that was pretty interesting. It says that as far as illustration gets paid the least out of all these industries, but they have a huge amount of satisfaction. So I don't know what that means, but it seems, or compared to like other professions, but it seems pretty interesting as well. And so I recommend taking a look at the PDF. It's huge. It's about 58 pages of just data, of all kinds of data of how the design industry is, how is it looking, how is it broken down by the numbers. And yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. Terry, what do you think about the designers in 2019?
I definitely have to really um, agree with you, which it's kind of funny because I know it says in here only 11% of designers say they're extremely happy, while 7% say they're ready to call it quits. That makes me
Yeah.
sad.
Hmm.
That makes me really really sad because that's like oh, almost more than half, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, 54% said that they're happy, but there's always room, there's room for improvement. Whereas, I mean, maybe because that is like such a big leap, to the 11%, which says extremely satisfied with my work and situation. I mean, who's extremely satisfied? If it had just said, happy where I'm at right now, I think that would have been a majority too. Um, but I think a majority of people are just, content, if you will.
Yeah, true, but that because that still makes me sad. It really
Yeah,
does.
7% ready to, that's 700 designers are ready to call it quits. That's, uh,
Yeah, I mean
you
that's a
know,
lot. I mean, yeah, granted, design is not the most easiest thing in the world, but when you come down to it, it's like as designers, we get to play with color, we get to play with type, we get to draw. I mean, and you can make a really decent living, and they're going to call it quits. That that 7%.
yeah.
I don't know.
It,
It just makes
it'd
me
be
sad.
interesting
That's
to
all.
know. It'd be interesting to know what factors are that's causing him to quit. Is it like imposter syndrome? Is it just work environment? Maybe it's the industry that they're in. Sometimes like designing for a specific industry is very could be very monotonous and boring, right? Maybe just the change of industry or the change of settings. Still doing design, maybe that might be something to look into.
Yeah, um, definitely because with that 7%, as you mentioned, if it's just in their environment, well, change their environment. Say see it to the job or see it to wherever that design job is, and definitely try and get another one because our industry, I feel like a broken record because I've been posting on LinkedIn as well. Like our industry is so super huge. I mean, there's content, there's regular design, there's UX, there's UI, um, there's research, and there's just themes of like I'm drawing a blank here of like a service design or like fintech or whatnot. There's just so much out there that basically a lot of designers can do. There is still print, there is still logo, there's still doing presentation design as well. But there's just so much out there. I It just makes me sad that basically they really love their craft. 7% is really going to say they're going to call it quits. That just makes me really sad. It really does.
Yeah, and I'd
Because
also go ahead.
no, go, you go.
I was gonna say I'd also recommend using this as just like a guide to see if you're thinking about getting into the design field, but you're like, where would I start? What should I focus on? Like this is a great breakdown of like where are like the most salaried paying jobs and what kind of the focus here. Like if you look at how it's breaking down, UI design, research, strategy, UX design, anything dealing with UX is pretty big right now, especially in 2019. And when you look at all the industries, right? When I was breaking it down, marketing seems to be a huge industry. Strategy is always big, so it gives you a good breakdown of like, hey, what industries, what are things that I should be trying to look into more, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's like a great point because if somebody is want to get into trying to get into UX or they are a career changer, they can look in here and it's like, oh, accounting. Okay, well, accounting may not be the most glorified thing, but if you can work, if you can get a client that does accounting, maybe you can help them, reorganize all of their information, right? Either their web or maybe sales page or whatnot. You know, all the 1% is like even uh, construction. You know how many construction companies that are out here in the Bay Area?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great entry point of just say, hey, I study this. I would love to do something for you, or da 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 da, and just get your feet wet and just contact all the construction companies in your area. Go after themes that basically other people are not going after, and this is a great um, uh, breakdown as uh, as Adam said. There's insurance, there's legal, all the 1%. Transportation, maps, illustration.
Yeah, I guess if you go by, I guess if you go by what it's saying, right? Years at a current job, if you could start your own business and be a self-employed freelance designer, and then go into all these 1% industries and be a niche in that industry because there's not the that high demand for those industries, and then you can go one by one and be and start niching through all of these. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
funny, but that's one way to do it, I guess.
yeah. I mean, also too, that's another way to build up your portfolio as well. If you're not getting the calls, or you're not making that change as fast as you can, definitely, keep your full-time job, of course, and try these like niches. This is a great this is actually really awesome because it tells you the 1% and the 2%. Oh my god, travel and tourism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's huge. That's a big money maker right there. It's crazy. There's just so much opportunity, even real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, oh, government too. Well, good luck with that one. um but
Yeah.
there's just so much, I think. I don't know, that's just my take.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend checking out the census. You can find it at designcensus.org, and that's what I got. Terry, what about you?
Okay, well, I have something that oh wait, hang on, my my thing is acting up. Um, okay, yes, definitely. Is called A Fable to Explain UX to Rookies, and this is by Mark. I'm not going to pronounce his last name. I'll probably butcher it, but it's Morera. A Fable to Explain UX to Rookies. Rethinking Batman's classic outfit in a user centric way. I thought that was very interesting because I do like all the Batman movies. I'm not, I'm not like a big Marvel like comic book person, but as a kid, you grow up Batman and Spider Man and Wonder Woman and all that stuff. So anyway, and then also Mark's illustrations, they're really really neat. And what I thought about it is, I get this question a lot, and it goes, "Have you ever tried to explain to your parents how you do your work?" It's extremely tricky. It's true, because when somebody asks you, "Oh, so what do you do?" and you tell them, they're like, "What?" They don't quite understand, and then you go, "Well, if you get an app or a website, I help with that." And that's all I say. They go, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I get it." So, but anyway, he continues on to talk about. So when he needs to explain to clients, stakeholders, or interns regarding his own methodologies, it's because user centric design is not a theory, but you can learn. It's definitely of a mindset, how you do everything. So anyway, he actually continued um, earlier this year. he actually launched Bat UX Design. It is an interactive tool that actually explains user-centric design through a fictional case studio, and it's definitely interesting. So when you actually click on his link, um, it's a cool infographic, like comic strips, right? You know, there's like Batman, hitting somebody's, Robert or whatever the Gotham thing, and Gotham, and then Alfred, and they talk about his suit, and yeah, it's just kind of cool how he talks about like empathize and everything, and it's a really cool storyboard how he designs everything of like seven Batmans. There's two sidekicks. There's two villains. And when you keep scrolling, there's a lot of detail work in this, and it's just very illustrated, really, really nicely. I mean, it goes on for a while. So, and then he talks about the briefing, and his own concept idea, along with the prototype. So actually, he did 30 paper prototypes shaped as of books that he dis- that he distributed among friends and acquaintance to collect feedback. I thought that was really interesting. Um, how he went out and did a lot of guerrilla research and really took this to the full edge and everything like that. So I'm gonna leave it at that because it's definitely an awesome read. It's very thorough and everything like that. So anyway, I thought this was very fun and just kind of different. How how he took his love, of Batman, if he loves Batman. So how he made this into like a pet project that he can actually showcase when he does interview, if that makes sense. So Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, this is incredibly impressive that he has the time and patience to do all of this. Pretty much, if you ever wanted to learn how to everything that goes into UX and you want to do it in a illustrative comic strip setting, then this tool is or this guide is for you, right? It's full of illustrations of pretty much you just made a comic strip that also is animated from time to time, and it really does just give you examples of uh, what are journey maps, right? What kind of tools you need, how do you what are all the steps that you need to go into design or into UX design. He doesn't have it finished, he's still working on it, but the effort that he's put into it so far is incredible. My only issue, if I were to have any issue, is I really don't think he should have done it. He should have did it in the form of Batman. He talks about like Alfred Pennyworth and Bruce Wayne. Then he even talks about Michael Keaton. And my only thing is that he is putting so much effort and work into this presentation, and it looks amazing. But he's gonna run into some issues if he ever tries to make any sort of profit or yeah, any sort of money off of this because it's using a licensed character that he doesn't have a license for. If he were to have, just made a parody of Batman, it's obviously you could make Bat UX its own thing and make something where it looks similar to Batman, but everybody knows it's a parody and it's based off of Batman. He could have got away with it. Could have you could start to sell it, but since you're using these exact properties and these real names, and I don't think you can use or sell anything from it. And it's kind of unfortunate because he did so much work. Like this thing goes on and on and on and on. He's been, I don't know how long he's been working on this, but it seems like he's been doing it for at least a year or more. So that's my only issue about it. But other than that, it's an incredibly great resource. Everything's just well done, illustrated great. You know, um, yeah, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I think so. And for me, this is like a really great example of how I could um, improve my illustration skills, and I might just do that over the holiday.
Yeah.
Do some drawings. So, all right. So, any more articles for you, or do you want to just get right into question of the week?
Yeah, let's get into the question.
Okay, the question of the week is, let me find it. Okay, here it is. Would it be possible to gain some insight into what a UX designer does? Also, I'd love to learn how you excel after your bootcamp experience. And this is by Melissa S. So I'll just repeat the question again. Well, there's kind of like two questions. Would it be possible to gain some insight into what a UX designer does? Also, I'd love to learn how you excelled after your bootcamp experience. So, regarding the insight of what a UX designer does, I think it varies because, again, we can go into the titles like, a UX designer, they can do research, or they can do research and they can do design, even though they are a UX designer, but they still do some visuals, or they just do some flows. And then also regarding the boot camp experience, I know a, a few people that's done the boot camp, or maybe they just took online courses just to keep up their skills. And there's nothing wrong with doing that at all, because regarding our industry, it just keeps on um, going and blossoming, and trends and and overall technology changes all the time. I mean, I can definitely talk some more points about it, but I'm going to hand it over to Adam so we can get a dialogue going as well. So, Adam, your thoughts?
Actually, I have no input on this. uh, Being a visual designer, um, I've worked with a lot of UX designers, but I guess from my experience through seeing what the UX designers that I have worked with do, they're in charge of working really closely with content to uh, break down the actual content into workable pages, right? So having that information architecture down, and then from there, working really well with the visual design team to kind of get these designs kind of looking great, and then finally working with the development team to finally finish the product. So just from what I've seen, a UX designer is pretty much the lifeblood of a whole project from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely, as mentioned before, it really depends on the company, and also too, it
Mm-hmm.
depends what is their definition of a UX designer, because we have there's a couple of hybrids or not hybrids, or maybe they have hybrids, but then they have the research team come in and they are UX research, or maybe they are a content designer that helps with the research. So there's a lot of different hats. And
Mm-hmm.
then regarding Melissa's questions about how you excel after the boot camp. Well, just with my experience, when I started with Career Foundry, I the first day, man, I started to talk to people who wanted either they were interested in me or they just called for an interview face to face. I would go in just for interviews just to get practice. I mean, I said this before before I landed at my first contract gig. I talked to at least 280 people either on the
Wow.
phone or face to face. I just didn't wait. Um, there was a lot of times I basically I fell in the interview or I bombed or even on the call, but it was really great because because sometimes they could ask me a question and I totally answer that wrong, but that's okay. So anyway, I got that question, I wrote it down and I looked it up. I was like, so what is the answer? So what are they looking for? And I figured it out. And then after that, I was ready for the next question and then for the next question and then for the next question. And by the time 6 months came around, I was done with the boot camp. And after that, I had 3 job offers. So it all worked out. So, and then basically, I know you took a short course online too. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was. I did the Design Labs course. I think it was research and strategy, and it was great. They pair you up with a mentor right away, and it's an online go at your own pace course, which was great because trying to work and do a course, and learn at the same time is always a struggle. And so having that call with the mentor helped really well because it's great just to have input and letting you know that you can do it. And also too, since it was an online course, you kind of took it at the same time with other people, or you got to see previous people and what their solutions were as well. So you got to get a lot of info, and then they had forums to help you out. And so if you really want to learn design at any there's at any level, there's going to be courses for you, and there's going to be support. The great thing about our I feel like our industry is that we have so much support out there. You just got to find it.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of support out there. Don't be afraid to reach out for sure. Reach out, ask those questions. And when you do ask those questions, just say maybe to 5 different designers, and if they don't reply to you back, well, you find another 5 designers. You keep finding people and keep asking the question until your question gets answered. I know it's a lot of work, but it'll be worth it. That's for damn sure. It really would. So, anyways, any more about that,
I
Adam?
would say if you're wondering if a boot camp is worth it or not, I mean, it depends on which one, but I've seen time and time again that taking like even a 6 month boot camp really does show results. And so I don't have the numbers to prove it, but from my experience from the designers I've seen and talked to, uh, from the ones that I've talked to, a majority of them did get a lot of their experience through a boot camp.
Absolutely. And there's all kinds of different boot camps. You can do them online or you can even go in person. Definitely
Hmm.
check out of your area as well. And then if you go to the course report, you can put in where your location is and that's a great uh, website of to sniff out what would be the best boot camp for you
Mm,
if you want to go that direction or not.
awesome.
Okay, so I think that's it for us. And so, Adam, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Adan Cepeda. That's AdanZepeda. And you can find me on Instagram at adanz.designs. Although you're not going to see that much from me this month because I'm going to be vegging out. But you can also find us on our Facebook page. We have a Ramblings of a Designer Facebook page. You'll find that in the show notes as well. I'm posting questions on there. I'm trying to get some interaction going from the people who like the page. So let's start a dialogue. Let's talk.
All right.
Terry, what about you? Where can we find you on the
Yeah, you
internet?
can find me on Twitter, and my handle name is Floxening, FLAXENINK, and Insta is Floxening.designs with an S, and then you can find me on TikTok just on Floxening, and then on LinkedIn. So social media has been really, really fun. All right, so next week is the big week because it's Mele Kalikimaka. That means Merry Christmas in Hawaiian. So Merry
Really?
Christmas, everybody. Yes, it is. Yeah. So I'm gonna be so excited for next week because we're gonna have our podcast on Christmas Day. I mean, how freaking exciting is that?
Pretty
Well,
awesome.
I think it's exciting. I love Christmas. So, all right, everybody, you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week. Aloha.
Bye.